Hey everyone! Today we're diving into a really important topic, the financial side of an ALS diagnosis. Now, I know this can feel incredibly overwhelming, but we're going to look at this as a journey that you can absolutely manage. So think of this explainer as your personal toolkit, packed with real strategies to help you navigate the road ahead. Let's get right into it.
Okay, let's just acknowledge the elephant in the room right away. The numbers, they can be a gut punch. When you see a figure like $50,000 a year, maybe more, for things like part-time caregiving, it's totally normal to feel a wave of concern. That's a serious financial mountain to climb.
But, and this is so important, it's a challenge you really can meet. So right now, we're going to pivot. We're going to shift our focus from the problem to the solution. The rest of this explainer is that toolkit, full of practical things you can start doing today.
First up, facing the financial challenge. We're going to get real about the costs, but more importantly, we're going to map out a path that puts you back in control. Okay, let's talk about one of your greatest assets, your community. This section is all about rallying that community for care. We'll look at how you can use some amazing free digital platforms to organize support and, save thousands in the process. So what's in this digital toolkit? Well, they're actually super simple tools. Platforms like Lots of Helping Hands or Caring Bridge, they let you set up a private shared calendar. Friends and family can just log on and sign up for specific things like running an errand or covering a few hours so a caregiver can get a break. And sites like Meal Train, they do one thing and they do it perfectly, organizing meal deliveries. These tools take all the awkwardness out of asking for help and just turn all that goodwill into actual coordinated action. And here's the kind of impact we're talking about. I mean, just look at this chart. Getting paid care for just 15 hours a week can easily run you $20,000 over a year. But by using those free tools to organize volunteers for that exact same time, you bring that cost straight down to zero. That is a huge, real-world savings that frees up so much for other critical needs. And it's not just about the big-ticket caregiving costs. Think about day-to-day stuff, like dinner. A family of 4 might spend around $9,000 a year just on their evening meals. Well, if you organize a meal train that brings dinner just 2 or 3 times a week, you could cut that bill in half. That's a $4,500 savings. It's such a simple act of community, but with a massive financial upside.
All right, next section, slashing your medical expenses. Let's get practical and tackle 2 of the biggest line items, prescriptions and all that medical equipment. So medications for ALS can be just shockingly expensive. We're talking up to $3,000 a month sometimes. But check out this comparison. There are free apps and websites like GoodRx or SingleCare that give you access to coupons that can slash those prices by up to 80%. That could be a savings of over $2,000 every single month, just from a few clicks on your phone. It's a total game changer. Okay, next up, equipment. Wheelchairs, patient lifts, communication devices. The price tags can feel impossible, but we can break this down into 3 totally manageable steps. First, your number 1 starting point should always be your local ALS organization. They almost always have equipment loan closets where you can borrow items for free. Step 2, hop online to marketplaces and look for gently used gear. The discounts can be huge. And third, don't ever be afraid to just ask local hospitals or rehab centers if they have surplus equipment they'd be willing to donate. You'd be surprised. And the result of taking those steps, it's just incredible. Look at this. By borrowing or buying used, you can often knock out 90% or even more of the cost of durable medical equipment. That tiny little slice, that 10%, could be all you actually end up paying, freeing up thousands upon thousands of dollars. All right, let's talk about the heavy-duty tools in your kit, accessing government and VA benefits. These are the absolute foundational pillars of a solid financial plan. This table basically lays out 3 financial lifelines. First, you've got Social Security Disability Insurance, or SSDI, which gives you a steady monthly income. And here's the key tip. ALS cases get expedited processing. Next up is Medicare, which is there to handle those really big medical bills. And for our veterans, the VA benefits are incredibly powerful. We're talking not just disability payments, but also things like caregiver stipends and grants to help modify your home. So, if you take away one single piece of advice from this entire section, please let it be this: apply early. The paperwork can take time, even on an expedited path. Getting those applications in the door as soon as you can after a diagnosis is absolutely critical to unlocking these benefits without any unnecessary delays. So for our final section, let's zoom out a bit and talk about building long-term financial resilience. This is about more than just money. It's about expanding your toolkit for both your financial and your emotional well-being.
There's so many other places to look for support. You can find microgrants from ALS nonprofits to cover a specific need. You can tap into local community groups, think Lions Clubs, Knights of Columbus, who often help with projects like building a ramp. Crowdfunding can bring in a wider network, and, as we're about to see, low-cost tech can be an absolute lifesaver.
Let's just pause on this one for a second, because this is so important. Preserving the ability to communicate is, well, it's everything. Now, dedicated communication devices can cost a staggering $15,000. But today, assistive communication apps for a normal tablet or smartphone can do much of the same thing, using text-to-speech or even eye tracking for under $200. This is an incredible leap in technology that preserves that vital connection for just a tiny fraction of the old cost. And, all of this brings us to the real heart of the matter. This isn't just an exercise in balancing a budget. Financial resilience, it's about something much more human. It's about creating the time, the energy, and the emotional space for what truly, truly matters. Every single tool in this kit, every strategy we just talked about, it all points to one thing. Every dollar you save on caregiving or medicine or equipment, it isn't just a dollar saved. It's a resource that you can now redirect. You can point it toward a family, toward connection, toward moments of joy, and toward really enhancing quality of life.
So I want to leave you with this thought. You now have a toolkit. It's filled with real, actionable strategies to manage the financial challenge. So the question isn't just, how are we going to afford this anymore? The new question is, with all the resources we're freeing up, what meaningful moment are we going to plan for next? Thanks so much for joining us for The Explainer.